Hello everyone, I'm Preeti. I'm the registered migration agent from Aussizz Group. I'm currently in Perth and today we will be discussing all the latest changes or what is the things that's happening in the immigration for the visa purposes, what are different requirements for each state, and I will be taking all the questions that you have for in this session today. You can come up with you can write the questions in your comment box, and I would be taking them from there. First of all, I would like to apologize. My apologies, please to take my apologies due to the technical error in the grid. We could not start that within the time, but I would like to take all the questions from you, and we'll make up the mind once we will take it up. Right, please drop your messages and any questions that you have, and I'm all ready and set to take it up from there. All right, and just write it in the comment box, all the questions, and I will try to answer all of them as what you have with you for the questions that you have. Yes, asked Aussizz. Let me tell you about this one. That what this platform is about. This is an Ask Aussizz platform where you can ask us any education and immigration related questions, and the experts from our offices, what we have, and they would start giving you all the answers to your questions, as per the best scenario, and looking into what suits you the best. We also say that the answers that we are going to give, that is going to be very generic. That is not particularly as per the person's specific criteria. Where the answers that you get it to the queries that you're going to give is going to be generic. And after that, if you still have got the questions or if you still have got the doubts and queries, please feel free to contact us in any of the offices throughout Australia, overseas, and we are more than welcome to answer those ones. I've got a question from Data, and his question is, when will be the new point system come into effect? Will they only give priority to CSOL list? Okay. Now, the migration strategy that has been announced, they have only talked about there is going to be reform the changes into the employer sponsored visa. The point system, they haven't said anything that there is going to be changes into that or what are the upcoming changes for the point system. The skilled migration is not being touched yet. The CSOL list, which is for the critical skills occupation list, that is only about the employer sponsored visas, where they are going to make it into the 3-tier system, with the applicants having the salary range between 130 and above. That comes in the tier 1. Then comes the tier 2 between 70,000 and 130, and the tier 3 will come into the 70,000 and below. So when we talk about this is all the employer-sponsored visas when you are being offered a salary for these ones. And that's how it's going to go with it. Currently, a lot of occupations which are not in the 482 list, that this is the reform of a 482. Currently, the occupations which are not in the 482 list, for example, maybe then aged care worker, may come into this. We don't quote us for just for this occupation. What we are trying to say is the occupation list is going to be divided as per the tier, as per the salary that is being offered to any applicant based on this one. Point system, there has been nothing has been said that there would be any changes that would be upcoming or what are going to be those changes into the system yet. So we do not expect that very soon, because by the end of this year, the TSS visa is going to be reformed. Next question is from Prabjot Kaur. Hello, Prabjot. And she said, ma'am, when will be the invitation round will happen? For Western Australia, the invitation rounds has been closed and they will resume in the next financial year. Every year, the financial year is from July 2024. That's going to start it from. And why they have said in the next financial year? Because the seats that were allocated to the state, that has already been finished. We have used our quota more than 96%, 98% for the WA. And there's still few applications which are still pending from the previous rounds which has happened. So that's why there are no invitations round in this year yet. And when it will, so probably generally what happens in July, we get the new quota, the seats are being allocated to each state, and then the state will start doing the invitations. Somewhere like in August, we expect the first round to happen, because even in last financial year also, when we talk about 2023 financial year, the last invitation round was held in April, and after that, July, the seats were allocated. We got a very few number of seats, we remember, that was 70% slashed in the quota, and in August was the first round when, for this financial year, we had the invitations. I'm expecting a similar scenario in this financial year, that the July, the seats will be allocated, and August is the one when the rounds will happen. And now let's see the next question. We have it from Ankush. I'm doing bachelor's in cybersecurity and I will be graduating in 2026. Is it worth for PR? Cybersecurity, any occupation from an IT, Ankush, is well in demand. And whenever we hear our immigration minister talking about it, they are talking big about the cybersecurity, IT, and everything. I definitely think that this is a good pathway, not only from the point of PR, but from the career point of view also. Cybersecurity is good. It is a big way. The ways right now the IT is coming back into the demand with the AI and the hacking that's happening and the cybersecurities and whatnot. So definitely, it should be one of the priorities of WA to look into. Next question is from Sadaf. Is there any 189 invitation round will happen this financial year? There have been a quota still, the seats left for the 189 for this financial year. Not all the seats have been allocated yet. So there could be a round somewhere in May this year, before 30th of June. We do expect there could be a round. Though maybe the round could only be for health sector, or the priority sectors where Australia is finding it difficult to find the skilled worker. Probably could be those ones, but I expect a round to happen. Next is from Ruman. What is the update on carpentry? I mean, with an update, I did not get your question. If you are asking about if there are any changes that has happened in the occupation for a carpentry, or if there is 4 or 5 weeks or anything, nothing has changed for a carpentry. There's exactly the same scenario, what was earlier, that you finish your 2 years of study, you go into a graduate visa, you lodge your expression of interest, and then you wait for, and according to the state where you have been living and studying, and then you wait for the invitation to happen. Carpentry is considered into the critical skill list of Western Australia, because this is the building and construction sector. So even if you are not a graduate of Western Australia, and if you are living in Western Australia and you have lodged an EOI of WA, construction sector is always given a priority with the 190. And if you're from a building and construction sector, you do not even need a job offer letter. So if you are from any other state and you are thinking of whether you should move to WA or not, building and construction industry, carpentry is a good option. WA is a good option, because chances of getting 190 invitation at a lower points in WA without a job offer, just by living in WA, there are very high chances. Okay. And if you are a graduate of Western Australia, definitely at the minimum points, the invitation should come within the next financial year. Next question is from Jagandeep Singh. Ma'am, completed my cookery from Adelaide and now doing job ready program from Adelaide. What are the chances of 190 with 85 points with next financial year? South Australia is also having a priority of occupations in the hospitality also. 85 points seems good to by in the next financial year for your job ready program. Good luck. You should receive an invitation from them. Sandeep Singh, hello ma'am. What are the chances for early childhood teacher Victoria 190 for 65 points working in the nominated occupation? Teacher is again in a priority list of amongst the sectors, and even the 65 points for a 189 is even expected to receive an invitation. And definitely, if you are currently working in your occupation and you have got an early childhood skills assessment, you should hear from Victoria also. Kush Vista, when will 190 visa grant launched first Feb? Kush, it all depends upon what is the nominated occupation. If your occupation is from a health sector, the processing time is no more than 2 months. We are receiving the invitation, sorry, the grants, so the decision of an application in about within 2 to 3 months or even less than that. And any non-priority occupation, the processing time is 11 to 13 months. Karishma Abrol, hi, what about quota for grants for existing applications for 190? We do have receiving the grants for the 190, and the visa grants are happening. It hasn't stopped yet. There were some rumors about that the 190, 189 grants have been stopped and they are not processing it anymore. But every now and then we are receiving the grants, so it has not stopped yet. There are still the quota left for them. Once the quota will be finished for this financial year, then the grants will stop and it will restart from July on. Right, Ankush says, thanks, ma'am. You're welcome. Jitin, hi, ma'am. I got positive skill assessment from Engineers Australia in skill level 2, associate level in school 313-212 telecommunication field engineer. Assessed my 4 years engineering bachelor's. I have a master's in mechanical engineering from India with 2 years experience, and my wife is, Jitin, and what's your question? And you've only talked about what's your background is, and then you have got a telecommunication field engineer skills assessment. Are you asking about, is your query about to the state nomination or what? So you need to ask me and accordingly I'll tell you the state nominations, which state you are in. Data, I have master's in mechanical engineering from India with 2 years experience. My wife is currently in the field of PhD in chemical engineering with no work experience, both age 30. Okay. And okay, so if you've done your mechanical engineering from India, you can also get your skills assessment as a mechanical engineer. And whether you have an experience or not doesn't matter. And the chemical engineering with the PhD you are doing it, she can also get a skills assessment, and you can lodge an EOI for 189, 190 for all the states also. With whatever state you are into, then meet the state criteria. If she's studying a PhD, then probably it has to be in the same state only where you can lodge your expression of interest. Now, Jitin's further question is, EA is assessed my 4 years engineering bachelor's degree from India. So how many points can I claim for education, 10 or 15? Yes, you can claim the 15 points. It doesn't matter what is your assessment outcome is. It matters the highest qualification that you have. Yes, the 15 points is on the basis of the highest qualification that you have obtained. Okay, so you can get the 15. Not that because you are assessed as an associate degree, associate telecommunication field engineer, which is the level 3, that is completely separate for the level 3. Okay. The points that you get for your education is on the basis of highest qualification that you have obtained, whether that is back home or in Australia. Your bachelor's degree is equivalent to, if it is equivalent to Australian bachelor's degree, then you can claim the 15 points for that. Okay. Now, next question is from, sorry, I lost where I was. Yeah, I'm currently working as a chef and have 8,500 points for 491 in Victoria. My annual salary is 60,000. Is there any chance to get the invitation? Yes, Victoria, with the hospitality sector, you do have got the chances. And for a 491 Victoria also. If you are working, are you working in your own sector? Though it doesn't matter whether you are working or not, your annual salary is good enough to uh, rectify those ones. Already done MPA. Now it's from Kumar Suba. Already done MPA and 4A2 also used now. 4A2 also used. Now studying Bachelor's of Nursing, finishing this year. My question is, which visa do I apply after graduation and PR? So you have done your MPA. So I think you wanted to write that you have used your 485 visa, and now you are doing Bachelor's of Nursing. Now with the Bachelor's of Nursing, department is saying is not going to approve the student visas for the ones who have already been holding a 485 visa. So with the 485 visa holders, if you have already finished that one, you have exhausted your 485, you are studying and all, it is unlikely that you will be granted your 485 student visa again. So in those cases, if you are already holding a COE, you could try to lodge those ones now before they make it not possible for you to even lodge that application, so that you can finish your studies and have got the further time to get your skills assessment and your invitation. Bachelor's of Nursing, once you finish, your AFRA and max skills assessment would take about 3 months time. And then whatever the next round will happen, whether that will be your state round or whether that will be a 189, you should be invited. So you at least need 3 to 4 months after completion of your studies also into this month. If you have got any employer who can sponsor you at that point of time after completion of your Bachelor's of Nursing, you can always look into a training visa. You can apply for those ones for which you either need to have completed your education within the last 1 year or have a 1 year experience within the last 2 years. So as long as you meet any of those criteria, that can also help you in extending your visa and to gain the experience that is needed, or to buy the time that you needed to apply for your permanent residency while you are doing these ones. Next question is from Dixit Patel. What are the chances of New South Wales mechanical technician? Mechanical technician is not in the priority list of any of these states at the moment. So the high points would be required for this occupation. The question is, what kind of requirements we can expect from next financial year? I mean, with new visa, chef in South Australia graduate stream. The requirements of the states, none of the states has even given any hint or talk about it that they are going to change their requirements. It seems like it will remain the same. And the states also would be, there's a lot of things that will depend upon once the quota will be announced for each state, that how many seats are being allocated. Along with that, there could be minor changes within the state requirements, because if they receive the lesser number of seats, then they have to make it, then it will be a bigger competition for everybody for receiving an invitation. but not that we have received any information from the states that they are working on changing the requirement altogether for any of the state nominations. Hardik Patel, ma'am, chances of bachelor's in cybersecurity, WA graduate, 80 points and 90. Any chances in next invitation round? Hardik, yes, the WA graduates, once the round will happen, even though your occupation is from a non-priority list, if I look into the last rounds which has happened, the non-priority for the WA graduate, non-priority occupations will, for the WA graduates were invited. So hang in there, you should receive it. Though you have done a bachelor's, so bachelor's degree would come as the third in these assessment criteria, because the first one would go to the PhD and master's degree holders, the first rounds. Then the first priority, the second priority goes towards the bachelor's with the honors degree, and the third one, you will be third in this with the bachelor's in cybersecurity under the master's stream. If you go under the vocational stream, then the advanced diploma as a highest qualification of Western Australia will make you in the top list of the WA when they choose the invitations as per their criteria. Ashok Ranawat, 190 and 189 nomination chances for chef and cook with 70 points in Victoria with this financial year. 70 points is very competitive for this occupation. And I would definitely advise to increase your points, because given when the states are not doing any invitations at this stage, a lot of people are working on their points and the competition is increasing and the number of seats are lesser, fewer. So definitely you should work on your points. Shahid, what are the chances for hotel or motel manager, graduated from WA and working in the same position more than 2 years, submitted EOI last February? How many points are you sitting at? What are the chances? Because hotel and motel manager is basically the hospitality industry, and there have been a lot of invitations. There have been invitations in this occupation for a WA graduate. If you have already lodged it in February 2023, then you need to look into an EOI and need to get a specific this thing advice about why you not have been invited in that period. Talwar, ma'am, any chance for RN 65 Victoria for 190? Yes, health sector is a priority for a Victoria. Even at the lowest points also, the nurses have been invited. What will be the point cutoff for mechanical engineer 190 WA and 189? Mechanical engineers have been invited at very high points in the previous rounds, and they were somewhere around 90 or probably more. And to all the mechanical engineers of WA where they are sitting, because I would highly recommend that they should get their more skills assessment done either as a production or plant engineer or as an industrial engineer. Using the same CDR reports, they could reapply for their Engineers Australia. Mechanical engineers were the rounds are dividing within 3. So in one invitation round, mechanical engineers are invited, then the second round goes with the production and plant, and the third goes to the industrial, and then the system goes. So if you have got the EOIs in all 3, then you will be considered in all 3 rounds also. I would highly recommend that you should get more skills assessments to increase your chances for especially for WA. And this is what has happened earlier also. This is same like an accountant. If you have done an MPA and you are only using your skills assessment as an accountant general, and not lodging for taxation and management, you are not giving your best chances for receiving an invite, because maybe the invitation round for management accountant is at 85 and accountant goes at 95 or vice versa. So if you have got more UIs, more chances to receive an invite. would you know if Queensland would be inviting 190 offshore applications? Offshore applications are very rare at the moment, especially from the states when they are not able to accommodate the people who are already here in living and working in their own states. Only the priority sectors would be the ones where they have not been able to find any applicant onshore. Adil, hi ma'am, I lodged 190 visa on 9th April 2024 and my occupation is air conditioning and refrigeration mechanic. When will my visa granted? So it's you've just lost it. Hang in there. Your occupation is not in the priority, but would take 13 months. What are the chances for mechanical engineers in WA? Again, Charit, as I said, you should definitely look into lodging your skills assessments with the industrial engineer and production and plant engineer and lodge the multiple EOIs to increase your chances. Do you think Queensland will invite 491 offshore applicants? For the offshore applications, I highly doubt that there would be many rounds for those ones unless until the occupation is in the critical or the priority list of that state. And next is my wife is in Perth, Australia, and I'm in Surat. We are married. After a visa grant, I want to move to a student dependent visa. Student dependent visa, and yeah, you are eligible to apply for those ones, though you have to meet the criteria and of the GTE. Though GTE is not available or is completely finished for this time, but it's been changed with a different criteria for this. You are eligible to apply for a student dependent. It all also depends on many factors that what study your wife has came into, and then after that, whether she is into studying at the same level or has she dropped her level, or whether what is her course progress at this point of time, how long you have been married for. There are many factors in your application. What will be the 190 and 491 expressions in WA for general accountant? General accountant in the last rounds have been invited at very high points. You should also look into management taxation. And if you are a graduate of Western Australia, then also the external auditor and finance manager. All the EORs must be launched. Mohammed Arshin Rana, I'm on a 4-5 visa expiring in December 2025. I'm working for Queensland government in regional Queensland since June 2022. In my field, annual salary is 95,000. I'm at 80 points for 190 visa. Should I go for 491 visa or should I wait for 190? You should wait for 190. It seems good. Profession is welfare worker. Yeah. Any chances for offshore medical laboratory technician? Any chance for invitation at 80 points for 491 and 70 points for 190? Any hope? Look, the medical laboratory technician probably maybe the New South Wales can pick up because that is the only state where the quota have been left. Other states, very few seats are left for this financial year, and especially for the offshore ones. In the offshore, for the New South Wales is the only one which has picked up in the past also within this financial year as many of the invites, and where they have been picked up with the maximum points if anybody has got there in their experience. For example, the 8 years of an experience will give the 15 points. If anybody has got those points, this is what I have seen generally when my offshore clients have been invited for New South Wales for a 491 or 190. Ahmed, would it be better to bring my wife here on a visa 500 or wait to get 405? If you're closer to finishing your course within next 5-6 months, you should look into bringing on a 405 visa. The chances are higher, not higher. 405 refusals will not be there as long as your relationship is done with. And next is Jubraj. I already applied for 190 visa as a restaurant manager last year. When my visa will be granted? So right now it is already 10 months for you. You are in April, so within the next 3 months you should hear the grant. I'm in the decision. Good luck with that. Can retail pharmacists be lodged in Victoria for 190? Yes. Any chance for offshore medical laboratory technician. I have just given this answer. What are the chances of ICT business analyst? Mukesh, so are you talking about a 189? 189, it would be at the very high points. For a 190 and a 491, which state are you talking about? If it is a WA graduate, ICT business analysts were invited. Good morning, ma'am. What are the chances of getting invited for software tester on 70 points for 190 and 80 points for 491? For a WA graduates, non-priority occupations are also fine. If you are not a WA graduate and you are not in a non-priority occupation, then you would need a higher point. So I want you to know whether you are a WA graduate or not. Any chances for social workers? Social workers is the health, comes under the healthcare and social worker things and all. So they are being considered as an overall priority list for 189 and for the state list for the 19491 also. It's a very good profession. 189s have been invited at 65 points, with offshore and onshore doesn't matter. So yes, it's a good occupation. 49, any chances for chef in Victoria? 491. Victoria is in hospitality sector. And yes, the chances are likely to receive an invite, but though it all depends upon how do you meet the rest of the criteria. What are the chances for getting invite for offshore? We have done that. I'm checking my any chances for restaurant manager in WA. Jasdeep Kaur, restaurant manager, is a priority list of a WA. There are the chances. If you are WA graduate, then also, even if you are a WA not a graduate, you come under a general stream, then also because it's a priority sector, there are chances for receiving an invite. Lastly, I will soon be entitled for medical laboratory scientist with 65 points this financial year or next one. Medical laboratory scientist is a priority occupation for a 189 also. Yes, the chances are more than the medical laboratory technician. All right, and I think this is the last question that we have it here. And thank you, everybody. Now, again, I would say good luck for everyone who are waiting for their invitation rounds. I know this is a very tough time for everybody where most of the states are not giving any invitations. This is definitely unlikely like the last financial year where lots of invites have been coming and there was the hope for the people for the next invitation rounds also. We hang in there by July when the new quota, when the new seats will be announced. There will be more clarity about what points and what occupation. Generally, I have seen the priority occupation. If you can get your skills assessed in your priority occupations, do that. If you have already lost your EOIs and waiting for the rounds to happen, work on your English, try to get as many maximum points, give your best chances for your invitation, because once they will open, there will be a lot of people and there will be a big comparison and a competition. So try to get the maximum. If you've already got a 7, try to get 8. If you've already got an 8, try to get an 90, because right now you're only waiting. And while waiting, this is the best time to increase your points. I thank you all for listening and asking us the questions. We stay tuned with more information as we receive from the department or from the states. We will be telling you all. Thank you so much.